What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And I was on my walk this morning and decided to just cop a squat and do the video right here, right? Live and direct from Sacramento, as my good friend Nate Dogg 916 would say. And this is a reaction to a comment, okay? And it wasn't a comment left on my page, but it was about me. And I think it provides an opportunity for a bigger conversation. And that's where I'm going with this. So it's a little bit about me, but also a little something to kind of challenge maybe some of the ways that we think. And so recently, it was a couple weeks ago, I've been meaning to do this video and haven't got around to it because I got, my kids and just life, right? But recently somebody left a comment on Solid Behind Blue Eyes, which is the channel of Brand 2 Scoop Daniel. And I had a conversation with him finally online, I think Friday. And him and I talk often. We talk multiple times a week. We have developed quite the rapport. And an unlikely kind of kinship has been born, which is interesting to me. And I'm having fun with it. And I think he is too. But nonetheless, we had a whole conversation, so you guys can check that out. I'll link to it here. It was a live that was done on Friday. And if you have other stuff that you'd like to hear us talk about, then leave it in the comments and definitely take it into consideration. But like I said, he has a channel, Solid Behind Blue Eyes, PBSP Hunger Striker. And so you guys can go check that out. If you're unfamiliar with who he is, he has been incarcerated a little over 30 years, did a bunch of shoot time, validated, runs with another group segment, recently went through a federal RICO indictment that was highly publicized. The feds called it a RICO, Aryan Brotherhood indictment. And so he's waiting to get sent to the feds, right? But go to his channel, check it out. You'll learn more about him. And you can go to that interview that we did on Friday, or conversation really that we had on Friday on my channel, and hear a lot also. So anyways, sometime back, somebody left a comment on his page and said, "Why do you keep acknowledging Josh from Homie Hangout? Don't you know he's no good?" And first of all, I just want to highlight, like, it's real 2025 for somebody on the internet who you don't know who they are, they're not really identifying themselves, to feel like it's their place, like it's needed for them to jump in the comment section and inform a guy who's currently incarcerated in the California Department of Corrections, has been there for 30 plus years, is well aware of how the game works, is well aware of who he is and who his friends are and everything else, right? And is well aware of who he talks to, you'd imagine, does a little bit of homework. But for somebody to feel like it's their place to inform him or scold him or reprimand him or challenge him, man, it's a different world. It's a different world. And a lot of people have said stuff about me online. I'm kind of used to it at this point. But like I said, I think this provides an opportunity for a bigger conversation. And so my response to that, which Scoops had a response, and that's his own business, how he chose to get at dude, right? My response is, no good to who? And that's my question, right, for you guys. We live in a culture now that, not just now, but currently we live in a culture where, a lot of the music that's geared towards young people celebrates activities that will land you incarcerated. It is very hard to get away with crimes today. There's cameras everywhere, everything else. This ain't the 90s. And even in the 90s, it wasn't that easy to get away with crime, because look at the prison boom and all of us that got locked up here in the 90s. But nonetheless, it's harder now. And so we live in an era where this music promotes this activity and promotes this mindset and promotes this culture. And then now you even have people who are currently incarcerated just vlogging from their cells, right, on their contraband cell phones, and they're rapping and they're talking about like shit on the internet. They're reacting to other YouTubers' videos on like No Jumper and stuff, and it really makes it seem like all that is normal, like incarceration is normal, like it's no big deal. And I hate to break it to you, but it is a big deal. And it is not normal. Most people don't go to prison. Most people today in California know somebody who's been to jail, but most people don't go to prison. And prison is not fun. I give a fuck what anybody tells you. Prison is not fun. Shout out to GB, the artist out of Merced. He has a song out recently where he points out, like, man, anybody try to make it sound like this shit is cool, that ain't your big homie, bro. That fool's lying to you. And I agree 100%. So for those that are unfamiliar, my story, my background is not complicated. It's not secret. It's not anything. I was a kid, man. I was a kid, and I wound up being called a gang member by law enforcement before I even knew I was a gang member. I was just hanging out with my friends doing what we did. I'm from San Francisco, California. In general, the Bay Area, right? The city specifically, more broadly the Bay Area, because I bounced around a lot. And I started getting in trouble at a young age. You know, I'm 48 years old. I was off the porch in the 80s, and and doing my thing, right? Not running around crazy, you know, back then, but running around. And it escalated, you know, as often is the case. You keep standing outside, you're going to keep finding yourself in different situations. And in 1996, I caught a case for attempted murder in Contra Costa County, where I had lived for a couple years prior to that. And I went to prison. Right, I caught an attempted murder case. I shot a guy in the neck because he disrespected my homeboy. And then the homeboy that he disrespected actually told on me, and because that's how that goes, right? So I went to the joint. And I was a northerner. I was a norteño in the streets. So, of course, that's what I was in prison. It was never, to me, a debate or a consideration. And I did my time that way. And in the course of doing my time, I did some things, and some stuff happened, and I wound up getting validated as a Northern Structure / Nuestra Raza prison gang member. And this is way before end of hostilities, way before the emptying of the SHU or ASCR or any of that stuff. So I went to the SHU program, you know, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people. And I sat in a Corcoran SHU for a while. Then I went to the Pelican Bay SHU, and that's where I paroled from. And I paroled December 9th, 2005. Technically from San Quentin, because back then you couldn't parole from the SHU, right? You couldn't self-parole. You couldn't just catch a bus. Your family couldn't come get you. Your parole officer had to come get you from prison, take you to the parole office, go through everything, and then take you to your house. And so that's what happened with me. But in order for that to happen, they send you to the reception center close to where you're paroling, which in my case was Contra Costa County. And so I got sent to San Quentin. I sat in AdSec overflow for a couple of days. Had one little Sudoku puzzle for the chaplain that I just worked on. It was ridiculous. But anyways, I haven't been back in prison since. I've gone back into facilities. You know, I got to go into Pelican Bay and actually see the main line. I never saw the main line when I was there as a resident. I went straight to the SHU, but got to see the main line and talk to those guys about the benefit of college and higher education and resources. I was a student at UC Berkeley. I'm actually wearing my Berkeley shirt today. I was a student at UC Berkeley at the time, Underground Scholars Program, and so got to explain that. I've been into many juvenile halls and talked to young people and offered resources and gave them my number and linked up with them when they came home and helped them on their journey in life and met with their families. So I've been inside carceral settings, but not as a resident, in almost 20 years. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm proud of that, right? It's the grace of God. It's the support of my family and my friends. There's a lot of factors at play. I've made mistakes, and thankfully those mistakes haven't led to those consequences. But when I was in prison, I did my time the right way, right according to the way that I was told we did time. And I made a decision in there. Let me try to shift my angle a little bit here. My back still hurts. I made a decision in there towards the end of my time in the SHU. Like, man, is it possible to get out of here and not come back? You know, I used to want to be the big homie. I used to want to be that guy, for sure, and looked up to those guys. And there's no love lost between me and those guys, but I'm just saying that was my mindset. And then I was there. I was facing the harshest consequence that the California Department of Corrections had to offer. And everybody around me was lifers. They weren't coming home. So they're making choices based on prison being their world forever. And it sunk in that prison's not going to be my world forever. They're going to open these doors for me. I get to go home. Is it possible for me to live a life that doesn't involve me coming back? Now, while I do my time the only way I know how. Right? I never asked the administration for help. I never flipped. I never told on anybody. There's no animosity on my end there. Right? I didn't get dirty politics. I didn't get kicked out of here. Or, you know, I said, look, I made a commitment while I'm here, and I'm going to stand on that commitment. But when I leave here, I'm not obligated to nothing. And I'm going to do my thing, man. I'm going to try to figure it out. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try. And here we are 20 years later. And is my life exactly where I want it to be? Of course not. But has it worked? Fuck yeah. I'm not in prison. And I'm thankful for that. So I came home, right? And so you see these comments about, oh, he's no good. Then other people will argue and they'll come on here, oh, Rascal thinks he's active. Rascal thinks he's good. I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm irrelevant. Okay? In that gang world, in that prison politics world, it's not a point of good or no good. I'm not relevant. That's not my world. I no longer aspire to be the dude that has all the authority and is sitting in prison for life. And newsflash, for some of you, this should be common sense, but I talk to a lot of people that are incarcerated on GP yards, active yards, black, white, and brown. And there's not a single one of them that wouldn't trade places with me if they could, right? It's when I'm talking with them and they hear my kids in the background, or I'm bragging about how my daughter just won this swim meet at her high school, or, you know, I'm talking about just the normals of, hey, man, I'm running the kids to school right now. Let me hit you back. Or, hey, I'm at work. I'll get you on my lunch break. Those little things that you and I take for granted is the stuff those dudes dream about, right? And I'm not saying that to poke fun whatsoever, but I'm saying that to say, if you think I regret for 1 second the choices that I made, you're mistaken. I didn't betray anybody. I didn't backstab anybody. It wasn't about anybody else. It was about me. I want to make some changes in my life, so I'm going to make those changes. I'm not judging you. If you choose not to make changes, that's your business, and you own the consequences of that, right? Whether positive or negative. Just like I own the consequences of my stuff. And so it's funny to me, though, this, oh, is he good? Is he not good? Like this fascination with somebody's status in prison. I haven't been in prison in 20 years. I don't give a fuck. And I don't say that to poke the bear. I don't say that to make fun of anybody or mock anybody. But I really don't care in general what people in prison think of me. My family and my friends that I have that are incarcerated, of course I care. But not because they're in prison. I care because we have a relationship. But in general, I don't give a fuck. And newsflash, them dudes in prison ain't caring about me. Right? I'm not relevant. I'm not in their mix. And 99% of the time, neither are you. Unless you choose to be. Right? Unless you actively put yourself in that position. So this internet stuff has people twisted. Like, it's either you're good or you're no good. Man, I'm a civilian. I've been out here 20 years. Now, are there certain things that just because of the way I was raised that I won't do? Sure. Right? It's doing community work. I've been shot at a few times. Right? And that comes with the territory, doing community work in the neighborhood. And there's no police reports. I didn't go tell on nobody. I didn't, and not because I'm a gang member and not because I'm worried about how people think of me. I just wasn't raised that way. Right? I was raised that you don't tattle. And so I still don't. But that's not a gang value. That's just my own value. You know, and honestly, I've raised my kids, like, for the most part the same, but also, like, this ain't the hood, right? Look around me. I don't live in the hood, right? I go to the hood all the time. I move around here freely, not because I'm a tough guy, not because I'm active. If there was some norteño junta, right? Some big norteño meeting down the street, and I pulled up over there, would I have a problem? Probably. Hopefully. I should have a problem because I don't fucking belong there. Because that's a meeting for gang members. And I'm not a gang member. So I would hope that they don't embrace me there. Right? I don't have no business there. Now, if I see individuals who are at that meeting and I run across them at the store or in Walmart or at a barbecue, that's a different story. Right? Because we're crossing paths in life. That is how my existence out here has always been. I try to stay in my lane. This YouTube stuff makes things a little complicated. And I know that there's some people that are not happy about who I've associated with on here or whatever. And that's fine. I don't expect them to be happy with it. But I don't live by those rules. I live by society's rules. Now, if I was to catch a case and go to prison, Well, now I'm putting myself in a position to be judged according to the rules in prison, right? And because I haven't lived out here with concern for the rules in there, yeah, it's going to be problematic, right? And I only know how to do my time one way. I only have one identity when it comes to being incarcerated. And so I'm subjecting myself now to a set of standards and policies and regulations that I have not lived up to over the last 20 years because I walked away from that. But most people I know, right, and most of my peer group has been incarcerated. Most of my friends have been incarcerated. And it's a lot of people that have done a lot of time. And they're out here now working their jobs, raising their kids, having barbecues, going to car shows. Like, we don't get into the good, no good, whatever. They all came off GPRs. We come from an era before all this weird stuff that's going on now, right? But if you're going to watch YouTube, if you're going to listen to people, listen for the content, but don't get trapped into thinking that because you watch some videos or because you listen to some music that now you need to hold people to this standard that a lot of times you guys don't even understand. You don't know what the standard is. You don't know what the rules are. You don't understand how in 2005 I could parole and not go tap in and yet still be just fine, right? And I'm not going to get into explaining all that. If you're around back then, you'll understand. Things have changed over the years, and that's fine. It's not my business, right? I talk about my experiences in prison, and my experiences in prison are as a northerner, as a norteño. So that influences that. And yes, I am from Northern California. It's a part of who I am, and I love it. And that doesn't make me a gang member, though. That I'm not. I'm not a gang member. I'm not out committing criminal activity. This good, no good, what's your status with? At what point is somebody so removed, and I'll end with this, right? Because this is really where it comes down to. At what point is somebody so removed from that environment that they can just be them? You know, is that those questions don't have to be answered anymore, right? It's 20 years, homie. 20 years since I had, been incarcerated, almost. I don't want to answer questions about my status. Get the fuck out of here. And not because I'm above that, but because what makes you think that's relevant to the content that I do on here or to the conversations that I have, right? And I think it's just foolish. I think it's kids trying to play an adult game. And listen, if you want to be out here and you want to be in the mix and you want to hold yourself to those standards, more power to you. Go for it. I would not advise it, but I'm not you. You do what you want. I hope you're prepared for what comes for that. Because you're subjecting yourself to another culture, right? You're putting yourself in a world in which the rules are different. And I hope you understand those rules if you do that. I lived in that world. And I knew those rules. And I lived by those rules. And I made a conscious decision to not put myself in a position where those rules apply to me anymore. And that's on purpose. And I don't regret it at all. Quite the opposite. So love to everybody that's out there doing what they're doing, whatever it is that they're doing. I hope that it's working for you. I hope you're getting what you're looking for, right? And if you're not, tap in with me. And you don't have to betray people. You don't have to do no snake shit. You don't have to be hella weird to change your life. You know what I mean? So that's all. Help others move with excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because I need you. Tap in on the next one. Salute.